a big data provider as well as a risk management tool service provider. So for instance, if you're a cultivator or a dispensary and you want to be able to send marketing campaigns that are customized to your user and your user behavior, you use our CRM solution, which by the way we provide for free. And what that does is it's an intelligent tool. So it looks at the information that you put on it, which usually has your consumer behavior patterns. You're able to, at the touch of a button, customize up to 10,000 emails, all pertinent to that consumer behavior. So it will be medical for Jane, it will be recreational cookies for John, and so on and so forth. States that have legalized medical marijuana first and then follow with recreational, we see business leaving medical towards recreational, and that's primarily because we also have found that recreational marijuana has a very elastic demand curve. What that means is that small fluctuations in the price of in recreational marijuana have a large impact on the willingness and ability of the consumer to buy it. So what that means is if you have medical and you're a medical user and all of a sudden your state has legalized recreational marijuana, you may actually want to go buy on the recreational side and self-medicate. Still a bit of hesitance from individuals to divulge all their information that is required to get their medical card. So they may prefer, for matters of privacy really, to self-medicate on the recreational side rather than do what they should do, which is get it on the medical side. Other things we have found is that states have to be very careful to overtax marijuana, whether it is recreational or medical, because there remains a black market in most of these states, and what happens if you tax it too high, that taxation then follows through to the user, and the user may want to get their medical or recreational marijuana in the black market cheaper. The question of where this banking and processing and allowing legal operators to open bank accounts, that's literally the $4.7 billion question, which is the size of the market today as we estimated. There was the banking bill introduced on the Hill that is looking to prohibit federal money to go into pursuing or persecuting those who are letting legal operators open bank accounts. That should alleviate a lot of the pain. In fact, we thought it was very early. We did not expect it to large or overarching federal banking regulatory changes to happen until at least 2016, if not after. So it's a step in the right direction. In terms of how that may affect investors, well, investors will feel a lot better when the federal government is not pointing the finger at them and telling them that if they're investing in cannabis, they're going to be audited. So I'm sure that it would alleviate a lot of the barriers to entry that some of the, let's say, more conservative investors are looking at. Another interesting bill that has recently been introduced is the Carries bill. And what that is looking to do is to declassify cannabis as a Schedule 1 drug down to a Schedule 3. That would also help alleviate sort of the pains around credit card processing and bank deposits. Today it's a $4.7 billion industry. We see it going to over $15 billion by 2020. That's a lot of money to just having cash transactions. It's not safe, it's not sustainable, so it needs to change sooner rather than later. I would probably group investors into three categories. The first one is individuals that have some money set aside, or high net worth individuals that want to sort of join the industry and see potential, and obviously they don't really have to account to anyone else. If they want to invest, they invest. So you see a lot of those, and I would actually argue that for the past 2 years that's primarily what you've seen. However, in recent past, you have started to see the emergence of funds that specifically look at investing in cannabis. And there are two types of funds: those that invest in ancillary services and those that invest in companies that touch the plant. For instance, we're an ancillary service. We provide data and reports and analytics, but we do not actually touch the plant. You see more funds in ancillary services than in touching the plant for obvious reasons. There's risk associated in the federal taboo. So there are currently venture capital firms that are sort of rolling out these new type of funds to provide to the public. And then I guess the third type of investment comes from companies already in the industry that are trying to either get vertically integrated, so provide more solutions to their tool suites of products, or that are looking to scale their business by acquiring another company. I'm an investment banker by training. I, in fact, used to live in Manhattan. Back in the day, I was working for JP Morgan. So I did sort of get a lot of my basic understanding of data and financial data and how it applies to the markets there. And then I have launched 3 companies since, and every single one has had a big data element. Tremendous stigma, tremendous pushback when I first announced that I was going to enter the cannabis space, yes. I mean, I have names like JP Morgan in my resume, and when I told my associates and my mentors and my friends even that I was thinking of doing this, they thought it was going to be career suicide. Interestingly enough, however, in just the last year, some of those folks have come around and realized that at the end of the day, as a business person, you go where the opportunity is, and the opportunity is quite substantial in this sector. I do have a personal interest in it. I have a family member that was negatively impacted by some of the legislation and regulation around cannabis. And it had a significant impact on my family. So I do believe that more transparency and education from information and data is necessary so that folks can make better, more informed decisions. There is a lot of need for mature skill sets from other industries in this sector. It's a blank canvas. So if you have a skill set or a formula that you know has worked in another more mature sector, I would say there probably is a need in cannabis. Find your niche. Regardless of the legislative movement and regulatory environment, based on the data that we have been collecting on the medical side, it would be truly surprising for cannabis to go anywhere other than forward. The applications are immense. Hemp alone, from an industrial point of view, is extremely powerful. And then the recreational, of course, is a whole movement and phenomena. So I'd say jump in, come aboard.